Lesson 5-2, the whole fractions. The main focus in this lesson is for you to be given a fractional part of a region and then for you to find the whole. You're going to have to find that whole based on fractional parts of the regions and then record the equations expressing the relationship of parts to the whole. And then you need to find the whole, give a fractional part of a region, and write an equation to represent that problem. But first, let's start with our mental math and fluency. I'm going to display some fractions, and on a post-it note, I would like you to write me 2 equivalent fractions for each. So please write the first fraction that you're going to see written down, and then write 2 equivalent fractions after that. So please pause the recording now if you need to, and get out that post-it note. So the first one is 1/5. The second one is 2/4. And the third one is 2/3. Again, pause the recording, bring your answers up to me. I will check them, and when I have checked them, I will make it okay for you to go back and turn the recording back on. Please read silently the following as I read it out loud. It says, if a light blue fraction circle piece is 1/3, what single fraction circle piece is the whole? Hopefully you realize that it's 1 pink. So if the light blue fraction circle pieces are 1/3, and you put 3 of them together, you should have noticed that that made a half a circle. The whole, though, that they're speaking of is the 1 pink, because the 1 pink would cover up exactly those 3 blue fraction circle pieces, which make the whole. Please make sure you have them out and you're working with them now if you don't understand what I'm saying. Again, I'm going to forget sometimes to tell you to pause the recording, but you need to do that at this point to make sure you understand what I'm saying. So how does it equal a whole? Well, 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 equals that 1 pink. So that pink is the whole for what we're talking about, for what we're discussing. Now let's take a look at this next fraction piece. It says, use your fraction circle pieces to help you name the whole, and then record the name in the whole box that you see here. That says the word whole, and you're going to write the whole in that box. And then write an addition equation to represent that problem. This is Math Journal, page 157. I'm going to walk through this one with you to make sure that you understand it, and then from there, you're going to go through and finish that page and show it to me so that I can correct it to make sure you understand. Well, if this is half, right away I would put in this fraction piece, half. That tells me that's half. So if I was to put that down, now I'm freehanding this, and I know that this is half. That means if I put another half next to it, my equation is 1/2 plus 1/2 equals a whole. So what equals that whole? What fraction piece did we say? 1 pink. And that's how we do that. So for every problem on this page, I would put a picture and my fraction in the piece that it gives you. And then remember, our denominator tells us how many pieces we need to make that whole. And then come up with my equation. And if I need to, draw it out, because I know this half plus this half is going to equal a whole, because a half plus a half is a whole. I'll easily come up with my answer. Pause the recording now, finish Math Journal page 157, bring it back to myself or Mrs. Voorhees or the parent in the room, have it checked for your ACI, and then turn the recording back on so you can listen to the rest of this lesson. Thank you. All right, I should have just checked Math Journal page 157 for you, and now you're moving on. Please make sure you have your fraction circle pieces out at this time so that you can do this activity with ease. I will read this to you aloud as you read it silently to yourself. It says, if the yellow fraction circle piece is a half of the whole, what is the value of one light green? Well, let's see. If the yellow fraction circle piece is half of the whole, then what's the value if I would put one light green within that half of the whole? It would equal 1/6. Now, if you don't know how I got that, please make sure you have those fraction pieces out in front of you, the yellow and the light green, and raise your hand and I will walk over and help you. The next one's asked, well then what fraction is one dark blue one? Again, you should be using the piece and visually and physically putting them on there so you see that, and you should notice that it is a fourth. So how about two light blues? Well, two of the light blues is 2/3 because 3 of them would fit. And what about two pinks? Two pinks would be 2 wholes. All right, having your fraction circle pieces out and making sure that you're working with them is really going to help you to understand this concept. If you are simply just listening to what I'm saying and not understanding this at all, you need to rewind the recording here and listen to exactly what I'm asking you to do and do it only with the fraction circle pieces and colors that I'm requesting. If you have too many of them out, it might confuse you. Pause the recording now if you need to. Raise your hand and I'll come over and I'll show this to you. Decomposing fractions as the sum of unit fractions. And really, that big word decompose means you're breaking it down. So how would we decompose 4/10? Well, we know that 4/10 is equivalent to 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10. Remember, when adding fractions, our denominator stays exactly the same. All of them are tenths. Here on the bottom, the number down on the bottom stays exactly the same. We do not add them. We add what's on top. And 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is going to equal 4/10. So how would we write a different equation to show 4/10 decomposed? Well, I look at this. If I would add 1/10 plus 1/10, that gives me 2/10. And again, if I added 2/10, 1/10 plus 1/10, sorry, I get 2/10 again. So 2/10 plus 2/10 equals 4/10. Please turn to Math Journal, page 158, and complete the math boxes that are on that page. I'm going to read Math Box 2 to you since I just completed Math Box 1 so that you can try to do these on their own. And it says, Carrie filled her watering can with 5 liters of water. When she finished watering her plants, there was still 1,500 milliliters of water in her can. How much water did she use? Circle all that apply. Pause the recording now and figure that one out. Remember what it's asking you. It says first initially she has liters, and then there was milliliters left over. So that's a huge hint there that you're going to be converting. Pause the recording now, and then I will read number 3 to you when you're ready. Number 3. Blaine's school has $26,000 for school improvements. It has already spent $23,570. It plans to add a new front door for $674, a rug for $245, and a new principal's desk for $561. Does the school still have enough money to get a sign that cost $399? You got a lot of adding to do here, first of all, with a lot of numbers, and then you got to subtract that from your main total, and that's your explanation to figure out your answer. So you're going to be adding numbers together and then taking that answer and subtracting. Pause the recording now and do number 3. Number 4, write the fraction, decimal, and words for the value shown. For the value shown, it's the shaded in area. Write a fraction for that, a decimal, and then put it into words. And finally, number 5 says fill in the missing fractions. So you need both numerator and denominator here. Remember, if there's any part ever of the recording that you don't understand, you can always pause it, rewind it, and listen to it again. The final thing you're going to be doing for this lesson is Math Masters, page 195. It reads, what is the whole? So for problems 1 through 3, you're going to use your geometry template or sketch the shapes, but I would rather you went back and got the geometry template. So it asks, suppose the square is a fourth. Draw the following. Again, I like to have you write that fraction in there. If each one of these it says is a fourth, then if I draw 3 of these, I know I have 1, 2, 3, 3/4, and it matches my answer that they're asking for. Now you need to draw a whole, the 1 whole. Then you need to have 1 1/2, so a whole and a half, and then 2 full wholes. Finish this page. When you're done, bring it back to me so I can check your understanding, and you have completed lesson 5-2.